Now, Iran and the China factor. According to the Daily Telegraph, 3 Boeing 747 freighter planes left China for Iran in the first 3 days following Israel's first strike on Iran. Data showed that on each flight, the plane flew westward along northern China, crossing into Kazakhstan, then south into Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan, and then falling off the radar as it neared Iran. Now, to add to the mystery, flight plans indicated a final destination of Luxembourg, but the aircraft appeared to have never flown near Europe and near European skies. Now, for your edification, these types of aircraft are routinely used to deliver heavy weaponry. Robert Greenway was the National Security Director for the National Security Council during the first Trump administration and is now with Heritage. He joins us now. Robert, I think people assume that because China has been relatively quiet here, that they're not or could not play any role whatsoever. But what could they be up to here?
Well, thanks for having me. First, I think it's important to remember what the relationship is. 43% of China's oil and gas come from the Middle East, a large volume of that from Iran. It likes to buy sanctioned oil below market value, and that fuels the Chinese economy and also its military ambitions. And so that's the central relationship. They've been relatively quiet, in fact, extremely quiet about the current conflict and coming to Iran's assistance. We also know that a large fire in Bandar Abbas port was Chinese solid propellant for missiles that exploded and created a tremendous amount of damage just about a month ago. I think it's unlikely to see Chinese arms shipments under the circumstances to Iran. It's more likely that Iran may be removing material or personnel or regime valuables to safe haven in light of the conflict. I think that's probably the extent to which China is willing to accept the risk associated with the current circumstances.
But 3 very large planes in 3 days that were supposedly destined to Luxembourg didn't arrive in Luxembourg, never went into European airspace, and took that bizarre route to get to Iran. I mean, they're obviously not delivering medical supplies. There's something going on here that I imagine Trump is being briefed about by our intel agencies. But Robert, Trump did reveal something very interesting this afternoon at the Oval Office. Watch this.
Have you closed the door on meeting with them?
No.
Okay, so it's still open to them coming here in your eyes.
I mean, they asked if they could come. We'll see if that happens. It's not that easy for them to come. They can't get out. You know, they're in Iran, and in one case, the guy wanted to come so badly, but he can't get out because there's bombs dropping all over the place.
What of that, Robert? I mean, Iranian officials, I mean, you obviously heard the supreme leader say, dig in and say, there's no way that you're going to regret this if you do this. Leaving it up in the air, like what are they capable of delivering against the United States? I don't know if we really know. But what are your thoughts about President Trump pursuing peace to the last moment?
Well, it's a remarkable turn of events. Just a few weeks ago, they had rebuffed his offers of diplomacy. And since then, Israel has begun dismantling the Iranian regime piece by piece with support and assistance provided by the United States over generations, some of our most important investments, and now on full display. And now the president, for the first time, any American president has had the advantage of time on his hands. And so he can sit now and wait for ideal circumstances at reduced price, and he can wait until the circumstances warrant his involvement, whether it's a precision military strike, to your point, with limited time duration and scope, but also, again, at much lower risk, because every strike that Israel takes each day makes Iran less of a threat to the United States and to Israel, and this is to our advantage. It's unlikely diplomacy is going to be pursued because, again, we got here because of failed diplomacy, and no agreement has been able to stop or constrain Iran's activities.
Robert, one of the real sticking points, I think, for Trump's supporters, 77 million people who voted for him, is what he campaigned against so brilliantly and totally busting the old order, the old foreign policy order, which was this idea of nation building and regime change. And when it comes to the Iranian regime change, Trump said this, watch.
If regime change does happen there, if the regime falls, do you have a plan for what you think would happen there?
I have a plan for everything, but we'll see what happens. Got a ways to go. They should have, look, they should have made the deal. I had a great deal for them. They should have made that deal. 60 days we talked about it, and in the end they decided not to do it, and now they wish they did it.
Now, I think there's enormous support, Robert, for a very limited and successful, of short duration, perhaps, attack on the nuclear facilities. It has to be successful, and Trump knows that. But this idea of America helping to install the next leader of Iran, how risky is that?
Well, you're exactly right. I think there's support for that. And I think that's all the situation requires. And I think that's all the president is going to be willing to do, if that even becomes necessary, and time will tell. And so you're exactly right. This is an incredibly unpredictable circumstance. But the good news is, again, is America doesn't have to involve itself in regime change nor selecting who the next leader might be. Our interests are, as he stated, Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. It's that simple.
Well, Robert, we really appreciate it, and we are praying for the president, his decision-making, and for our troops and our country tonight. Robert, thank you.